So, what happens when your whole world, everything you've ever known, everything built on wealth and privilege, just completely falls apart overnight? Today, we're going to dive into that exact question with the incredible novel Esperanza Rising by Pam Munoz-Ryan. It's a story that has stuck with so many people because its message of resilience is just that powerful.
The story kicks off with this beautiful line, painting a picture of a perfect, almost fairy tale life. But this quote, it's doing more than just setting the scene. It's actually giving us a little hint, a bit of foreshadowing of just how much is about to be lost.
And that fairy tale life? It all happens right here, at the absolutely gorgeous El Rancho de las Rosas in Mexico. This whole first part of the book is really about letting us soak in this privileged, beautiful, and what seems like a totally untouchable world that our main character, Esperanza, lives in.
I mean, just try to picture it. A life filled with endless fancy dresses, a huge house where servants are there for your every whim, and this absolute certainty that one day this massive, successful ranch will be yours. Yeah, that was Esperanza's actual reality. Her future didn't just seem safe. It felt like it was destined for greatness.
But you know how it goes in great stories. That perfect world, it rarely lasts. And for Esperanza, the change isn't slow or gradual. Nope, it's a sudden, violent crash that completely shatters the idyllic world we were just getting to know.
It's just one single, terrible tragedy that hits her family. But in a flash, the entire foundation of her life is just gone. This one event sets off a chain reaction, forcing Esperanza and her mother to make a choice that is pretty much unimaginable.
They're robbed of their home, their future, everything. So their only real option is to flee. They have to leave the only country they've ever called home and start this desperate journey, not just to a new place, but into a future that is completely terrifying and uncertain.
And where do they end up? A migrant farm camp in Arvin, California, a place that could not be more the polar opposite of El Rancho de las Rosas. And we're not just talking about a change in scenery, this is a full-on collision of two completely different realities. Just think about the whiplash here. One minute you're the lady of this grand estate, surrounded by beautiful things and people waiting on you. The next, you're in the dirt and dust of a farm camp, where your entire life is about hard labor and just trying to get by.
And to really get what they're up against, you have to remember what was going on at the time. They land in the U.S. right in the middle of the Great Depression. This was a time of incredible economic hardship for everyone, but it was especially brutal for migrant workers, the very community they were now a part of. Tensions were high, jobs were scarce, and wages were rock bottom.
So, Esperanza is just slammed with all these new challenges. This girl, who was used to total luxury, now has to do grueling farm work that she is physically and mentally unprepared for. She has to figure out her place in this new world, trying to get accepted by people who just see her as some spoiled princess. And on top of it all is the constant, crushing stress of being poor.
Okay, so you might be thinking, wow, this sounds really tough. How does a story about so much hardship become this beacon of hope, this literary classic? Well, the answer is in the power of its themes and, frankly, the truckload of awards it's won.
Seriously, this book has racked up more than 15 major awards and honors. That right there tells you something. This isn't just a popular book, it's a critically acclaimed piece of literature that has made a huge impact.
And listen, these aren't just any awards. We're talking about some of the most respected honors out there. The Pura Belpré Medal, for example, is a really big deal. It specifically honors books that authentically and beautifully celebrate the Latino cultural experience, which is at the absolute core of Esperanza Rising.
You know, the really cool thing is that the entire message of the book is hiding in plain sight right there in the title. Esperanza is the Spanish word for hope, and it's that one powerful idea that drives her whole journey.
So when you boil it all down, that's what this is all about. Esperanza Rising isn't just a story about loss. It's a deep look at what you can actually gain when you think you've lost everything. It's a story about how strength, family, and a totally new kind of hope can grow from the ashes of a broken dream.
And that really leaves us with a huge question to think about in our own lives, right? When we're faced with our own struggles, our own losses, how do we find the things that are truly valuable? What does it take to find hope when it feels like all is lost?